leaving, and you know it. I know you're afraid. Me too.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 horror film, The Exorcism. The film is co-written and directed by Joshua John Miller, and it stars Russell Crowe, Ryan Simpkins, Sam Worthington, Chloe Bailey, Adam Goldberg, and David Hyde Pierce. Right, the film focuses on Russell Crowe's character, Anthony Miller, who is a struggling actor. He's been out of the game for a while. He's had a lot of personal issues. He's got a daughter that he's trying to connect with called Lee. And he gets the opportunity to audition for a horror film, an exorcism film. In actual fact, a remake of the classic Exorcist. Because the original actor who was playing the priest met with an untimely death, which you get to see at the beginning of the film. Russell Crowe auditions well, gets the part, and as soon as he starts filming or the filming commences, he starts not feeling himself and becoming more and more troubled, which essentially leads him down a very, very dark path, as there is a demonic entity that is trying to take over him. Right, what are my thoughts on The Exorcism? Well, I've been actually quite looking forward to this film. I love exorcism or possession type movies. I think, in my opinion, one of the greatest horror films of all time, if not the greatest, it's definitely top 5, is The Exorcist. And there have been very, very few films that have been able to emulate what that film, delivered. There's been a few over the years, and to be fair, I review at least, probably 2 or 3 every year of like possession or exorcism type movies. And last year, we obviously had the disappointing Exorcist Believer. But we also had last year, in my opinion, one of my favourite horror films of last year. And that was The Pope's Exorcist, that starred Russell Crowe. So I don't know if that film piqued his interest in this subject matter. I'm not really sure. My understanding is that this film, I think, was filmed around 2019, 2020, and it's been kind of shelved, I suppose, until it deemed it was going to get a release. So I don't know. Maybe it's just coincidence that these, The Pope's Exorcist and this have come out so close together. They're not the same movie, obviously. In this film, he's playing an actor who is playing a priest, and I think the central performance here by Russell Crowe is, well, what can you say? It's Russell Crowe. It's excellent. It's really excellent, because he's got to play this fine line between this struggling actor who is trying to play a part and he's just not getting it, because you see the frustration on the director. Many scenes, he's trying to get the best out of him. It's not happening. The director knows he's made the wrong choice by casting him, but it's too late now. There's nothing he can really do about it. So you get Russell Crowe giving a bad performance when the cameras are rolling on the film within a film, and then you get the other stuff of Russell Crowe being outstanding when he starts to slip down this very, very dark road of this demonic possession and the relationship stuff with his daughter. Now, that's not an easy balancing act, I don't think, for any actor, but Russell Crowe does it effortlessly, and he's really excellent. And the more sinister he becomes, the more he is possessed. In my opinion, the greater the performance becomes. And I think it's very easy these days to kind of dismiss these like exorcism stroke possession movies and just kind of wave them away. No, they're not very good. Don't like them. Blah, 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 blah. Now, I'm not saying that this is an outstanding film, because like many possession films or exorcism films, this one fails at the last hurdle, like many of them do. But I think much of the stuff leading up to the conclusion of the film, I was really quite on board for the majority of it, and that's thanks to the performances and some clever direction at times as well. And interestingly, and I had no idea about this, the director Joshua John Miller is the son of Jason Miller that played the priest in the original Exorcist. I just think it's fascinating the fact that they're making a remake of The Exorcist, and the director of this film is the son of Jason Miller. So that it's got that DNA in it, of the original Exorcist. And put it this way, in my opinion, this film is better than Exorcist Believer. I think there are moments in this film where it gives you chills. There are moments in this film where just this look that Russell Crowe gives you when he's in the full throes of possession, and it's just like, oh God Almighty! He's got the look of a great baddie. He proved that in Unhinged, was it? Where he played that road rage guy, absolute lunatic, and I thought a very sinister character, and I thought that was a very, very underrated film in my opinion. And again, when he's full on villainous in this role, it's very, very good, and I think he plays an excellent villain. I'm not going to lie, Russell Crowe. I'd love to see him do more of it. I was also interested in this because we've got David Hyde Pierce playing Father Connor. Who is David Hyde Pierce? Well, he is Niles from Frasier, one of my favourite shows of all time. And I was delighted to see him in this film. And for the most part, he's excellent. I would have liked to have seen him in it a little bit more. But when he should have been given time to shine is, like I say, the conclusion of the film, where you get the final confrontation between, good versus evil and the exorcism, so to speak. And for me, it just didn't deliver. And I was desperately disappointed with that. And how do you make that? How do you make a film like this deliver on the ending or the conclusion or the final act? I don't know. I don't really have the answers. I just know that this film didn't. I think this film could have been a good couple of points higher, I think, if they'd have nailed the final act of the film. But I came away feeling disappointed and feeling a little bit let down and feeling like they didn't really have a plan for the ending of this film. So I think there's a lot to recommend about this film. I think some of the reviews I've seen for this have been desperately unkind and a little bit disrespectful. I think this film actually, when you look at it and analyse it and break it down, there's a lot going for it leading up to, the final act of the film. I enjoyed the performances. I think if you take this film by its own merits, forget about the Pope's Exorcist, forget about the fact it's been shelved for a few years, just kind of look at it for what it is, which is like a quite interesting, like possession exorcism film with the DNA of the original Exorcist obviously woven through it, with an excellent central performance by Russell Crowe. I think, there's some merit here for you guys if you like possession films. They just dropped the ball, in my mind, in the last 20 minutes or so. I think if they'd have nailed that bit, I think they would definitely have had a much better film on their hands. As it is, they've got a watchable film on their hands, and above average, in my opinion. So, yeah, thanks for joining me, guys. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on this film, and I will, of course, be back with plenty more reviews on this channel very, very soon.